Hi, welcome to Brain Lab. Today we're going to be making a motor neuron out of beads. You have a kit with beads that have been pre-selected. There are a total of 41 beads in 6 different colors. You have a key ring and you have a piece of cord. This cord is roughly 50 inches long. It is about the length of an adult's arm all the way to the opposing shoulder. And so we're going to work through the steps of how to make this into a motor neuron. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the key ring and we're going to slide it into the middle of the cord so that both ends are even. The next step is to take your first bead. We're going to use the dendrite tip. They're clear blue and they're what I have 5 of. In my case, that is this bead. And we're going to slide it over both ends all the way down until it meets the key ring. The next step is to take 4 beads that are dendrites. In my case, those are the navy beads. There are 20 of those. So I'm going to take 4 and I'm going to slide those over the ends of both sides. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Sliding them all the way down. And now we have our very first dendrite that is completed. At this point, it's time to start making the cell body. If you place the key ring down on the table, grab one end of one cord, lay the other one down, you're going to pick your cell body color. In this case, my cell body is red. I'm going to take 2 of the beads, and I'm just going to slide them onto the end about 2 inches and stop. I'm then going to take my other end of my cord and I'm going to cross thread it. So I'm going to slide the end in the opposite direction of the other cord. This is going to lock the beads tightly in place. I'm going to pull them all the way until both cords are nice and even in the center. And sometimes the cord gets a little bit twisted up, and that's fine. You just keep pulling until both beads are there. That is the beginning of our cell body. At this point, we need to make 2 additional dendrites, 1 on each end of the cord. Take 1 cord, you can place the keychain down on the table, and again, you're going to take 4 of the colors you're using for your dendrite. Mine are navy blue. 1, 2, 3, and 4, all the way on. And then I'm going to take 1 more of my dendrite tip color. This is this nice clear blue. And I'm going to slide these down until they've met the cell body. Now here's the tricky part, because you need to lock these beads in place. Skipping the light blue dendrite tip, I'm going to slide the end of the cord through the 4 navy colored beads. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to hold the beads tightly to that cell body color, and I'm going to pull, and again, sometimes you'll just need to twist your cord or untwist your cord. Pull it until they are nice and tight against the cell body. And you can see I have this sort of like an L shape, an upside down L shape. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All the way down to the center, and then the 1 dendrite tip color, and again sliding them all the way in nice and tightly. I'm going to take the end of my cord, skipping the dendrite tip. I'm going to slide it through my 4 dendrite beads just like this, and then I'm going to pull the cord nice and tightly, locking those beads in place. And again, you might need to shift it a little bit to make sure that everything is nice and tight and firm. Now we're going to add on to our cell body. We're going to use a cell body color, red, then we're going to put the nucleus of our cell body, which is, I picked kind of a glitter color, and then 1 more cell body. So there is my red, here is my glitter bead for my nucleus, and then 1 more red. And just like we did before, those 3 beads just go on an inch or 2 on the tip of 1 cord. I'm going to take the other cord, I'm going to cross thread them so that they go through. You can see now they're cross-threaded. I'm going to pull them all the way down into the center, locking them in place. At this point, you can really see the neurons starting to take shape. And just like I did before, now I'm going to make my final 2 dendrites. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 of my dendrite beads, and then my light blue dendrite tip all the way down to the center. Just like before, I'm going to bypass the dendrite tip bead, and I'm going to slide the end of my cord through the other 4 beads, pulling it nice and tightly so that those are all firm into the center, just like that. And now my final dendrite, I grab the cord on the other side and I put on 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can see I no longer have any more dendrite beads in my cup. I'm going to use my last dendrite tip, slide them to the center, take the end, bypass that dendrite tip bead, slide the cord through the other 4 beads, and then pull it tightly all the way until the beads are formed, whoops, on the center, just like that. And now I need to finish my cell body. I'm going to take my last 2 cell body beads. These are red, sliding them on to just the first 2 inches of one cord, taking my other cord, cross-threading them through, pulling them tightly, and you can see it's really taking shape, right? So we have the key ring, we have the 5 dendrite tip beads, we have all of the dendrite beads, we have the cell body and the nucleus. The last thing we need to do is make the axon and the axon terminals. My axon is white. That's the bead that I had 7 of. So you're going to put 1 bead on the end of one cord. You're going to cross thread that 1 bead, just like you did with the cell body. Pull it tight to the center. And then you're going to repeat that for a total of 7 axon beads. Slide the bead on, cross thread it, pull it tightly. And if you need to go through and tighten it up a little bit to make sure that everything is where it should be, that's just fine. Bead, cross thread, pull it tightly. And while you're doing this, if you're doing this with a child, you can ask them questions about neurons. You can ask them questions about, what does this neuron look like? Does it look like anything else? Hopefully they'll see the similarities between neurons and trees. You have kind of roots, and you have a trunk, which is the axon, and you have branches, which are the dendrites. And you really want to encourage them to have wonder and fascination about biology and about life. So here is my very last axon bead. They've all been cross-threaded, and there are only 2 beads left in my cup. These are the axon terminals. So I'm going to take 1 axon terminal bead, I'm going to slide it on one end, and then to lock it in place, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to thread the end through the opposite side of the bead, the side that was closest to the axon, and just sort of pull it in place. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my other bead. I'm going to slide it on, I'm going to get it nice and tight to the axon, I'm going to take the end, and I'm just going to put it back through the other way and tie it tightly in place. And now you can see the entire keychain is set. I have the dendrite tips, the 5 dendrites, the cell body, the axon, and then the 2 axon terminal beads. And at this point, all you need to do is you can just simply tie these pieces of cords in place. And then if you choose to, you can just trim them off. And then you can see the child will have their very own finished motor neuron bead. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you very much.